If you hear Sabbath and immediately feel behind, stressed, or resistant, then this episode is for you. But before we dive into this, if this kind of faith-centered content is helpful, take a second, like this video, subscribe to the channel. It lets YouTube know that you want to see more of this kind of content. Okay, so I mentioned in this month's full episode that keeping the Sabbath has always been my biggest struggle when it comes to balance in my business. But I found a strategy that really, really worked for me, which is what I'm sharing with you in this month's Quick Focus episodes. And last week, we talked a little bit about a simple filter that you can use when you're looking at your to-do list to help you prioritize your to-do list to give you the space that you need to rest. This week, I'm going to share with you my secret to actually taking that rest. So there's a couple of key points here, things that I've talked about here on the channel. In other places, I've had many episodes where I talk about habit building and atomic habits, and actually you can see atomic habits back here on my shelf. It's a philosophy that has been incredibly helpful for me when I'm trying to effect some sort of change in my routine. You're going to hear that book and these concepts come up throughout this whole, not just this month, but like in the future as well, because it is such a core philosophy that has really made some of these really overwhelming changes so much easier for me to do. So what I'm going to encourage you to do this week is start small. The philosophy behind atomic habits is that the atom is incredibly small. It's not the smallest thing in the world. We've discovered smaller things, but it is incredibly small and it is incremental. So the way that atomic habits works is that you start really small and every day you build on what you gained from the day before. So in this situation, what that means is if it feels stressful or overwhelming to take an entire day off, to shut off for an entire day, well, then don't start there. Start with the morning. If you are choosing Sunday as your Sabbath and you're going to be at church in the morning, shut off your phone, turn off notifications, focus just on being present at church from when you leave your house to go to church to all the way when you get home, okay? When you're at church and you're in the service, you're probably, hopefully, already doing that anyways, right? You're not scrolling through your phone while your pastor's talking. But even before church and after church, just no business stuff. If an idea comes to mind, I know that can be really tough. And, if you have a notebook or something and you could jot something down that you can remember for later, that can be helpful as well. Like the whole point is that this is not about all or nothing, because I guarantee you, and I know this from experience, if you dive in and try to do an entire day, just completely shut off when you haven't done that before and you've allowed that to be a work day, you're going to fail. Maybe not the first week. You might be able to power through and make it through, but you're going to be stressed out. You're going to feel like, well, that was pointless. There was no benefit. And maybe by the next week, you're already done trying to do it because you think that it didn't work. You need to set yourself up for success. And the best way to do that is to start small. So like I said, just start with the morning or just the afternoon or just after 6 p.m. Find a window that feels the least overwhelming, the least resistant, and focus on doing that for this first week. And then next week, add a little bit more. And then the next week, add a little bit more until eventually you can take the entire day and it's restful and worry-free. As you think about building that rest this week, I'm curious, what feels like the hardest part of doing that right now? Is it starting small, staying consistent, or giving yourself permission to rest at all? Let me know in the comments.